All right, Chipola Nation, we're here with Coach Jeff Johnson, who was just named the NJCAA Baseball Coach of the Year. Coach, we're very excited. Were you surprised by this?
No, thank you, Brian. And it's always great when you get awards. And I tell our kids all the time, if we do good with our team awards, individual awards will take care of themselves. And when you win the national tournament, normally this is what comes with it. There's not a big process, I don't think, in NJCAA to select the Coach of the Year. So it normally goes to the team that wins the national championship, the coach that wins that. So proud of that. It takes a lot of great players and great assistant coaches to help you achieve things like that. But just proud of it.
You just finished your 21st year at Chipola, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. In addition to winning the national championship this year, are you still learning? Are you still learning stuff as you go?
I think when you quit learning, you go backwards.
Right.
And so every year you keep developing your plan and your experience from years prior and all that. You learn things that you want to do and things you don't want to do.
Right.
And you bring in some infusion and some young coaches who have some different ideas as well that you say, hey, let's try this and do some different things. So you learn each year. Each team has got their own different identity to it. You have to learn what makes each team work and what buttons to push and what buttons not to push with each club. I think at the end of the year, this club really figured it out. They really learned to trust one another. They bought in. They refused to lose. They understood what it took in the dugout during the games, the internal leadership, the will to win, the passion that it takes to be a championship level team. And I think also, the thing we do a really good job of, a good job of here is the mental part of the game of learning how to play the game and understanding not to let the highs be too high and the lows be too low.
Exactly. Well, that's great, Coach. A lot about managing people. Wanted to talk about some of our players they're playing in the big leagues. We have a great record of sending people on to the next level, and just want to go over all the guys that are in the big leagues. And we want to start with Patrick Corbin, who's playing in the AllStar Game. We're taping this on Tuesday. What's today? July 16th, I think. And the AllStar Game is tonight. And our very own Patrick Corbin is representing the Diamondbacks in the AllStar Game.
Couldn't be prouder of Patrick. A guy who was here in '09 and 3 years later he's in the big leagues and in the All-Star Game for the first time, and then he goes through the torn UCL and ended up having Tommy John surgery and came back a little early, I felt like, and was trying to just do too much too early. Didn't have a great year the last couple years, and finally got himself back on track this year, and just couldn't be prouder of Patrick and the way he's pitched. I think he's leading Major League Baseball, tied for the lead in Major League Baseball in strikeouts right now. He's had some tough luck as far as the wins and losses. Going into this past weekend's game with Atlanta, he'd thrown 3 games in a row to where he got through the 7th inning and allowed 1 run, no runs, and 1 run, and didn't get a decision.
Oh, wow.
And I think there's probably been 5 or 6 of those years where he could have gotten wins, and he didn't get wins. But just a great guy, as long as a great pitcher, and outstanding breaking ball from the left side. And Jeff Mathis, who's a Mariana guy, started catching him in those 3 games I was talking about. Jeff caught him in all 3 of those games.
Fantastic.
And this weekend, Jeff caught during the day game on Saturday, so didn't catch him on Sunday. He catches Greinke every game, and he's been catching Pat as well. And gave up 4 runs in 1 inning on Sunday. But just proud of him. A little concerned about him pitching on Tuesday, Sunday, and then coming back on Tuesday in the All-Star Game. So I hope he don't get there very long tonight if he does. But just take care of that arm and use this time during the break to get himself refreshed for the second half of the season.
A super great guy. You had mentioned Andrew Towles. He had been with the Dodgers last year, and he had had some injuries, and then he got called up again recently, right?
Andrew was up 2 years ago with the Dodgers, and no, it was last year. He was up last year with the Dodgers, got hurt during the middle of the season, and had ACL as well. And he came back from that and just got called. Had been doing really well in AAA. I mean, he's hitting like 360 in AAA, doing really well. And he got called back up here about a week ago. He's playing center field for the Dodgers now and hitting in the front of their lineup and, just doing an outstanding job. He's a great hitter, 5-tool guy who can really play. He can run, he can throw, he can hit, he can field, he can do it. He can do it all. And just needed an opportunity. Proud to see him back healthy with the opportunity. I tell you what, at my house with Pat and Andrew out there on the West Coast, it's a late night sometimes watching those guys.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Now, who else do we want to talk about that's up playing right now?
Well, I mean, you got Tyler Flowers. Tyler's catching for the Braves, and he catches probably 4 out of the 6 games a week. They got the Suzuki guy who catches what Tyler's having a really good year, and he's really turned into an outstanding defensive catcher as well, and just proud to see him doing what he's doing there in Atlanta. I was kind of disappointed I didn't getting to go over this weekend and see Pat, Jeff, and Tyler all at once, but maybe they'll come back and hit them again. And then, Jose's turned it on with the Mets a little bit after getting released by the Braves, and he's doing well, hitting the front of their order, middle of their order, and proud to see him doing what he's doing. And then Russell's still in there. You start talking about Jose. I think Jose's been a 6-time All-Star. Russell's been a 4-time All-Star, and Pat's a 2-time All-Star now. And Russ is still in there banging it out with the Dodgers. He and Jose getting along in the tooth. They get their age-wise, but they're still what great careers they've had. And done really well. And just proud of that whole crew. And
then we've got
Adam Duvall.
Adam Duvall is still very much.
Adam Duvall's in there with the Reds. He's not playing every day, but he still hit some home runs. His name's in a lot of the trade talk coming up of possibly getting traded to another club that's in a pennant race and all that. And Adam's got great power. His average isn't quite where he wants it to be right now, but he's really made some strides from where it was early to now. He seems like he's getting hot now as we go as well.
That's great. Coach, of the guys that were drafted last year, I know Reynaldo Rivera was probably the most outstanding draft pick and probably got the most money and the most interest. How's he doing? Are you keeping up with him?
Reynaldo's doing well. He and Evan Steele both were second-round draft picks, and Evans had a little injury issue with his shoulder, rehabbing it right now. Hopefully he gets back going here pretty quick. But Reynaldo, last year he struggled a little bit. The first part of the season, his first professional season, and he's got those old long arms, and you put a wood bat in their hand and all that as well. It's a little different for him, but he's up in West Michigan in A-ball up there, and he's doing very well right now. I think I saw last night he's hitting like 275-ish or something like that. He's starting to hit some home runs. His average, that's a pretty good average in that league too. And he's hitting in 3-4 hole for those guys, and the home runs are starting to come. It's just a matter of confidence and him getting used to that wood bat, and he's going to take off. He'll take off before long with it.
That's great. Well, let's talk about one of our hometown favorites, Michael Mader. What do you hear about him lately?
Mike got moved up to AAA. He's in Gwinnett now. He was in AA over at Pearl, Mississippi, in Jackson. And
so Gwinnett is near Atlanta?
Gwinnett's north of Atlanta, northeast of Atlanta, and that's the AAA club for the Braves. And Michael's doing really well. He's kind of been starting and relieving. I think that's what they'll probably do with him for a little bit. And I think that's probably the quickest way to the big leagues for him, And I think he's in a position now to where, he does really well, or somebody gets hurt or something like that, he could be in the big leagues at any time if something like that happened now. And just proud of him. He came and threw a bullpen for me the other day during his off time, All-Star time, and boy, his velocity's good. He's in great shape. He's really developed as a pitcher with everything he's doing and maturing and all that as well. But we got Jose Caballero, who's doing really well now as well. I was looking through that whole list last night. We need to get all that online where we don't forget anybody.
Exactly.
Franklin Van Gert, he just got moved up with the San Francisco Giants as a pitcher who we converted from a catcher here and throwing extremely well. Danny Mars is in AA with the Red Sox. Isaiah Gilliam's one that's doing really well down in Tampa. Isaiah's been player of the week for the Tampa Tarpons down in their A-ball down in the A-ball team down in Tampa, and doing outstanding, hit some home runs. It just goes on and on. Bowden's doing really well. This says a lot about our program and how well our kids are doing.
Fantastic. Well, now let's talk about Chipola Baseball and what's it looking like for your recruiting class for next year?
We'll have about 5-6 guys back from last year's club. So it'll be, again, it seems like every year it's a new group. When you have, it seems like 5 to 7 or 8 every year you're replacing, or that are coming back, and you're replacing a lot of guys. And we've signed a good group of players, we feel like, and you never know how good they are. I tell everybody all the time, we'll know about the end of March, 1st of April, how good players we got, and it's all about the trustworthiness, how they work, the will to win, all the things that goes into that to becoming a good player. Just because you're a talented player don't mean you're a good player. So we're excited about the guys we have coming in. We could possibly get one or another guy or two in here before we start school on the 20th. But right now it looks good. We picked up a few guys. I never want to kind of start getting into names, because when you say that, you start putting somebody on a pedestal
Right,
above
right.
another one, and we don't really like to do that around
Right.
here. But we're excited about the group we have coming in, and hopefully they'll play the game the right way and work hard and be trustworthy.
Okay, great. Let's talk a little bit about, you're also the athletic director here. Let's talk about the Appreciation Club, because I know that's always a big push, because sports is very expensive, and without our boosters in the community, we simply couldn't have the kind of sports program that we have here. So what's going on right now with the club?
Well, there's no doubt, Brian. You look at what has been going on here at Chipola athletically. You know, we got 4 main programs here that try to compete on a national level. And we had a national champion, a national runner-up with our softball team, who had an unbelievable year this year. We had a state runner-up with our men's basketball team. And our women's were a little off this time, but Coach Franklin's won a national championship, and you know, he's had one of those years where everything that could happen bad happened to him. But 3 of our 4 sports this year, were champions or runner-ups at a national level. And that just says a lot about it, from a town of 25,000 and a school of 2,500.
Exactly.
And to be able to compete at that national level, to go along with what you're saying, we don't have the big corporate donors and people and the monies within the school, the drink sales, the student fees, and all that other people operate on. So we have to raise money to be successful. And in doing that, and you know, we made a big jump in our booster club the last few years. David Johnson, Chuck Hudson, and a lot of other people have helped me with that to take it to a different level. We had over 200 members this past year, which was huge for us. And we need to keep growing. Because when you go to national tournaments and you go to state tournaments, the amount of money it costs to do that, we have to have some help funding.
Oh, yeah.
And then to be able to, you know, outfit our kids the way they need to be outfitted, you know, put them on the road the way we want to put them on the road, represent us in the right way, wearing the right stuff and all that, it takes money to do that. So, you know, if you're not a booster member, we'd encourage you to join. It helps us. It helps us to be able to maintain and build our programs. We want to continue to build to be as good as we can possibly be. You know, assistant coaches being able to do things to help people afford to be able to help us as well, and also, you know, do our equipment stuff and things we need to do to have a class program like
Right.
me.
Fantastic.
Another thing I'll talk about, Brian, is we're doing our Endless Summer event again on September the 29th this year, and we're honoring Gene Pro this time, who was our former president and vice president here, who's done a ton for he and Dr. O'Daniel back in the days, and I don't think anybody's done any more for our facilities and fundraising and everything else athletically that Dr. Pro's done. Anybody who wants to be involved with that, please, you know, we'll be out doing that on the 29th out at the Armory, and we're going to honor him and endow a scholarship in his honor and his name.
September 29th, and
Yes.
there's a lot of way to get involved in Endless Summer. You can just buy a ticket. Tickets are $50. Some of the best barbecue you'll ever have, and we're going to have a band there, and it's going to be a great night of good food and fun and fellowship with the Chipola faithful. And also, if you want to do any kind of sponsorship, if you're, if you were close to Gene Pro, or if he did something great for you, then you might want to remember him, because we'll be making a big scholarship fund.
Just call me here at the field, or stop by, or you see anybody here, see you or anybody, we'll get you in the right spot to take care of.
All right. Well, Coach, anything else today?
I think that's good. We just appreciate you guys, and I think there's a lot of people out there watching these things. I hear a lot of great feedback, and we got to promote our program and get our program visible to have followers, and I think we're doing that.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Good luck.